I'm Dr. Mia Luth, and today is what started 8/23/2022. It's 11:02 a.m. Eastern. Um, and today, kind of, this is one of those days I was trying to figure out how to make like some CBD edibles and maybe Delta 8, but nothing else. I'm I don't want to sit around and get high. Not really. If I was around a bunch of friends camping over a weekend or something, might, but in general in life, that's not really my thing. So, I don't, in terms of medicinal, yes, smoking it is not exactly, it's kind of counterproductive in every way. So, medically speaking, this is true. Yes, it has been shown quite clearly year over year, many different, yes, many different universities and CDC and other places all over the world that have some academic and experimental rigor. You understand? These things get checked quite a few times over before they're even published, okay? Yes, very clear that pot smoking can cause COPD, emphysema, and death, cancer too. So, right. So what CBD at this point, it's like there's no standard dosing or anything, right? And so yeah, I don't know. I think my stomach, I made peanut butter cookies with hemp seed and oil, or hemp seed butter, which I bought from Etsy, and I don't think my stomach was too happy about that. The way I made them, I don't know. Okay, but regardless, yes, I have IBS, which is indicative of people with a few different things, but definitely fibromyalgia. Right, like quite literally, my skin hurts. It's hard to wear a bra. Right, so none of us can wear restrictive clothing for any great uh, length of time. So, but I don't just have to worry about that. Anyway, today was one of those mornings. Exactly. Like stomach cramps and something need to clear out. And it wasn't going to stop until it was out. Sometimes I don't know what it is. But, so I'll go without eating my cookies. Not that I want to eat a lot of cookies. Right. But for diabetics, yes, there's, also some, yeah, some of the sugar free stuff and some of the, and it gives you the runs, so to speak. Yeah, if you eat too much. So I don't know. But it's not really the best morning for me. I mean, it's still kind of lingering, but I am feeling a little better. And thankfully, my caseworker is pretty flexible. I do have a caseworker because, yeah, I mean, I don't have family, so I have someone who can at least take me grocery shopping and sometimes take me to doctor's appointments, you know, so that's good. But I was supposed to go grocery shopping this morning, and there was just no way I was gonna get out the door. So I may still do it this afternoon, but I decided to check in here and get this down. I still do not have pain meds, and at this juncture, the pain management place was not returning any of my phone calls, and I've left two messages. So we'll just see what happens here. But I've been like, yes, I would not have made the decision for pain management if I didn't already know for sure that likely that's going to be a part of my life for the rest of it. Okay. Yeah. So not being on pain management is not the freaking option. And unfortunately, I don't know what it is I'm supposed to say to anyone that's going to make any freaking difference other than my whole freaking body hurts. My bones hurt. My skin hurts. And so getting needles with fibro is more painful than it is if you don't have fibro. And so just getting, you know, nerve ablations was so painful that it wasn't worth doing because the pain I get to go through and only lasts like, well, doc says 6 months about that, but for me, it was like by month 4, I'm starting already, and then like I'll pinch a nerve and I'm stuck like this. People who don't know any better, it's like, well, you got to get up and exercise. You got to get up and move. I'm like, I wouldn't that be a miracle from God, which I would greatly be open to people. Okay. Yeah, no way. I'm faking this. Yeah, get what I'm saying? So trying to maneuver around all this stuff is like, yeah. So, but I do have an email now from the movement disorder specialists over at Hopkins who I did email just to say, well, you know, the person who was with me when I went the first time was not the person to be asking any questions and ask the questions. So that's what you think. She wasn't qualified to answer that. And apparently, some of the records that I had thought were sent may not have gotten there. So I just reiterated to him that, like, you know, unfortunately, since 2007, one of my goals has been, you know, rule out Parkinson's. Okay. Uh, and lots of other things to get ruled out, which was good. You know, can't be that, can't be this. Sleep disturbances, yes, and they could be related to narcolepsy, but they could also be related to Parkinson's. See, at the time, I didn't think about Parkinson's, but I don't have genetic information. And the last person I know that had any genetic information from my biological family, I was adopted, is deceased. So I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I don't have that like pre-warning thing, and it can skip generations. So I don't know. Anyway, so this is where I am today, and I put this up in case anyone runs across it. Also, anyone share a prayer or send, good healing vibes or whatever. Appreciate that. I still, though, do try to work a little bit here and there. And so I started a ministry and a fund to help for major emergency issues that might get covered by insurance, but the money's not there, or where there's no, you know, set up. But I plan on staying in and around Elton. Okay, I mean, I like it fine enough. It's fine. Yeah, right. Well, me, I don't need a lot of stimulation. Sometimes, right? I can just go now. My apartment, like it's not that far. I'm still perfectly capable of walking to. There's a park very close to me, and it has like a little walking loop, and it does flood a lot, but there's, yep, I can sit outside on the picnic table, or when it's cooler, can walk around. So I can get out and, look at birds and see trees and, occasionally talk to someone who's out and about walking. So I can do that, which is good because where I live, I'm closer to it. So it's not as far a walk. And I'm pretty grateful that for the most part, if I really have a situation and I'm out and about, like the ERs, not that far. And most of my doctors are in Harford County. But I did get an email after I kind of explained a few things. It said, well, you know, it could be, some type of Parkinsonism. And I think basically it was what the doc over there at the movement clinic didn't know was, well, it's not like it just came up with this off the freaking top of my head, man. It's been a goal of mine since 2007. Trying to, go to doctors and work, and then you got to take care of people, and there's family, and then there's funerals and more funerals, and, money loss and blah, blah, blah. People get involved sometimes in your life, and they just bring your world to shit. But I'm grateful to the Holy Lord Father God. People, make no mistake about that. Okay? But I'm not trying to get religious with anybody. That's just the truth. Even with all this crap. So I'm a little more irritable than maybe I was before, just simply because that's not fair as a consumer. Okay? Yes, that knowing full well I've already been through those things that indicate to doctors and therapists and anybody that I'm not, you know, exhibiting drug seeking behavior, um, and that I definitely, have had some falls and tumbles that just weren't happening when I was in my 30s. Yeah, but even in my 30s, a couple times it's, yep. But here's the thing: is as an athlete, when I was a kid, through my teens, it, I got to know my body really well. So yeah, I, these things weren't really that much of an issue for me. And then through my 20s, but right. And I took a couple spills in my 30s that were not, it had to do with just getting off balance somehow. And, at one point I thought it was the shoes I was wearing. I don't know, what I'm saying? But in the past 5 years, I've fallen quite a few times. So just even trying to get out of the shower one time, right, and I bruised up and I knocked my elbow pretty good. And I probably got a bone bruise, but I've had worse bone bruises. So I don't always just go run to the orthopedist or the ER or anywhere because it's a bone bruise. What are you gonna do? You put ice on it and you so you know, but I mean I fell several times in the course of a month. I don't always just go running to the ER. So I'm also, stating these things out loud because in case I forget. Okay, in case I forget. I am having a little difficulty with some amnesia centered around a traumatic event. So, uh, don't worry, I sucky people. It's not any of you. Right? I mean, it's not anything to do with me going to the game or any other thing that I put on a blog. Great. But, usually my recall of events is pretty detailed because I'm brain trained that way. Simply because, as someone who had some autistic tendencies as a child, no freaking idea how to process that kind of anger and that kind of disappointment and all the things that my parents were going through just in general themselves, and my family, and drugs, alcohol. I mean, that stuff can like freaking tear a family straight to hell down pretty quickly. So I'm blessed that really the one thing that I am addicted to slightly. You see, here's the thing: is I'm very grateful also that I've been able to ask some people for some help and prayer and helping me just focus on, one less cigarette every few weeks or so and just get used to it. So I'm getting there, and it is like getting more gross for me. Like, yeah, it's light up a cigarette. It's like, wow, like how dogs and cats and that, yeah, they get a hold of something they don't like and they just, yep. So this is good. Amen. Hallelujah. So be it. It is done. So sometimes when you say it is done, it means it may not have happened quite yet, but it's going to. Okay. But I am making a documentary, and it's just turned out that, you know, the, some of the choices and some of the creative things, some of the things that I might really have wanted, can't, I'm okay kind of letting some of that go because obviously I gotta move slower, and you know, some days I just can't even make it outside the house. I do everything I can to get up out of bed. This is important for people who are confined to the indoors because it's hard to get out and about and all these other things, or you just don't want to go outside and get hurt. There's a lot of reasons. Sometimes the outdoors can be really scary for people. Um, Try to change your bedroom around, the room that you spend the most amount of time in. Yeah, try to, you know, change it around a little. And I will show you. You can see right here where I'm at. The That's a poster, and actually, it's not a poster. I'm sorry. It's a vinyl like window cling. I just didn't do that because, oh no, there's no way by myself it would be all messed up. So I just pinned it up like a poster. But for mental health reasons, it helps me, to be honest, that I have this that looks like a window. I mean, your mind knows it's not really, but that's like pleasant scenery. And I have another that I have a few of them, but there's another one, as you can see. Oop. All right, well, they're back here, and that one is a little more like springtime, and I purposely put, a little more colorful, curtains, blue, and I have some colorful things because it helps with the mood and getting natural sunlight, even just through the windows. But you can also use something that's called a happy light, or, yeah, 10,000 lumens. And it will even work for non sighted people, which is something great because to get vitamin D and also to help with circadian rhythms. Because as long as your eyes are open, okay, even if you can't necessarily see the light yourself, there's probably some of it that does still process, right? And, you know, maybe not the full effect, but some of it still does get through to your pineal gland. So you may not be able to see it, but your body is aware and it will pick up some of that so that you can have a little better quality sleep. And, you know, uh, it can absorb through the skin. So you put it close enough so that you can feel the heat of it if you're non sighted. If it's close enough, you can feel the heat, then you're sitting close enough to it. It's like 20 minutes a day. You can do that when you're changing or listening to the TV or radio or whatever you like, music. Um, but for sighted people, the happy light or 10,000 lumen, there's been plenty of scientific studies at this point, people, plenty that indicate that, for people who aren't big fans of taking pills and other things, which I will go through some things before I just automatically accept certain medications. You understand that? Because, sometimes you may not, but if you go through certain things in the diet and other, and it's still, then yeah, you do need to maybe get some physical checks. But yeah, I mean, it can help you with your mood, and it can help you build a good circadian rhythm, and that helps with every kind of sleep and melatonin production. Okay, so these things have been studied. Okay, plenty of different kinds of studies from different academic fields, even, right? But particularly medical psychology. Okay, your biology and how it can help elevate your mood, and you don't even have to take the pill or anything. And yep, for non-sighted, it it may not be as effective, but it does still process into your skin and into your, right. So it can also help non-sighted people because their skin and their, right, also will start absorbing that light. So it doesn't re- necessarily rely on what you can physically see. So even if a non-sighted person is sitting there, when you can feel the heat, if you're feeling the heat, it means it's close enough. Okay, right. So a few feet away from you, and just have it on, and it absorbs into your skin. That's how it can reach your pineal gland and other things. So if anybody's looking for information about certain sleep disorders, the National Sleep Foundation is an excellent resource. Um, and there are people you can sign up to be on some boards, and you can get in like some support groups online, and in some cases there's people who will connect and meet every so often and discuss. But that's why I'm putting it out, because I found a bunch of things that have been helpful when trying to you know manage proper restorative sleep. And um, then there's the Narcolepsy Network. Um, and those are two big ones in the US that can be helpful to people. Um, so thankfully, I am right now going to go with I'm cancer free. That is me. And that's the way it's going to stay. Okay. Unfortunately, some people who may have talked to me or met me or been friends with me, or something, and maybe I've fallen out of touch. It's just, well, I can only really handle so much in a day, and that is becoming less and less. So, I mean, just know that it's not because I was trying to avoid anybody or hide from it or do any of that. It's just, you know, I'm still a little bit like, it still kind of gets me sometimes. Even though I've been going through this for, yes, a good portion of my life, but, you know, I was just plain used to getting up at dark 30. for years and years and years and years on it. And, you know, doing something, work, family, errands, projects, short term gigs, whatever, hockey, music, whatever. Okay. And having the freedom of a vehicle to do that. But I don't have that anymore. And so trying to get used to that when you've been at it for so long, it's still a little difficult. And especially sometimes doctors are a little extra arrogant or hubris filled or heavy on the ego. And I'm not telling them anything really, except for a lot of people just can't afford to get to it. And you have to understand that. And sick people like me can't be riding on a bus all day long or standing outside waiting for a cab. I mean, the cabs are gouging like nobody's business. So I'm not saying it's on the doctors too. The medical doctors, right, to be, working on that problem. I'm just saying that that can be a life or death, make it or break it for plenty of U.S. Americans. It's not that they don't want to use their insurance. It's not that they don't want to go to the doctor. It's not that they don't want to go to the dentist. I mean, some people don't, but it's that they can't. And it isn't safe for certain types of people with certain types of illnesses to be getting on a bus and riding for like, right. So, but I have now talked to my sleep doctor who's also right respiratory, and I've talked to another nurse practitioner, and you know, this time, you know, I know that I can put together enough information from like 2007 to now to, show that I went through the processes very carefully with a few people, and it took basically about 2 years to really take a look at any medications that I was on to, is it dyskinesia from medication? Well, I gotta go with okay, that's a possibility, but we ruled that out, and that's medical doctors and nurse, right? And we did it the right way. And I wasn't on a certain medication for long enough to have like long lasting dyskinesia. So I've also had the tremors and the, you know, sort of not being able to keep one foot still and other things for a while, and started on the left, and it just been increasingly getting worse. So, but now my right, so I just made the call. No more driving for me. Because I just can't, even with medication these days, you know, guarantee I'm going to be okay. And it just takes like a hot little second to have an accident. So I'm just not going to do it. but the U.S. government and the state of Maryland and the county of Cecil. Yes, hello, Elton. Uh, should not try so hard to press individuals to become independent and drive, and because it's totally unsafe and it's wrong. And even walking for me at this juncture has gotten to the point where, one, there's a likelihood I could have a drop in blood pressure just out of the freaking blue, man. And then I'm like, ugh. And I've fallen out. Not totally passed out. Okay. This out of the blue. Not when I sit up. No. I don't think like those people. I'm a scientist. I'm objective. Okay. I've already been to a couple psychologists and psychiatrists along the way. Straight out. I'm not delusional. And I know how to diagnose without, right. So there are quite a few things that have been ruled out. And Parkinson's still clearly an option. And now I do have an email from someone at Hopkins, which pretty much is my only real choice, because I can't go into Delaware until I get Medicare, because Medicaid's only for, which is also called medical assistance, is only for, or MCO. Okay, right. In the state of Maryland. Okay. Uh, you know, when I've tried, doing some things to track symptoms. So having things on video can help me, or a doctor, somebody. And if I forget and I've said it on video, then right, I'm having way too many brain farts for someone my age, is what I'm getting at. So I understand some of it could be menopause, general, right? So I know all these things, and I've looked at them objectively, and I have talked to other professionals, and it just can't be ruled out. And more, it's like, are you sure? Because now I've got, right, in the progression, you understand, there's like stages, but mine would be early onset, because, yeah, and in the progression, I'm basically like textbook progression. So at least he did kind of say, well, I'll, check you out. Come on. Okay. Right. So I did let him know it's like really hard for me to get transportation, but he'd still be willing to, like, do another evaluation. And I have a couple of people anyway, I'm grateful for that, can help me, like, put together my medical records, and put together like a timeline for him to say, see, it's like it's getting harder and harder to rule out some kind of Parkinsonism. And even he said, and he, said, well, there's neurologists at Upper Chesapeake, which is a little closer to me. Um, just, just as if you keep getting, you know, gently maneuvered back to Hopkins from other professionals because they're the only movement disorder specialists. So gratefully, I may be able to go back in the next couple months, maybe even sooner, because, you know, I can uh, work on, at the very least, getting the ride from uh, the health department. I know they're not happy about going all that way, but my insurance does pay for it, so they'll get paid. And if I schedule it far enough in advance, uh, you know, but I kind of need that. I can't just get in a cab, even if I could afford it. Okay, it's not all about money all the time, people. Even if I could afford it, like if I have any kind of incident, it's better that I be with Cecil County Transit, and I can just let them know, like, I mean, right, you see what I'm getting at? I mean, it's just better that way. So gratefully, I do have an email, and now at this point, there is a little bit more agreement, and Dr. Stern will, if I can, get my records in even more concise order and try and, a timeline for him from like 2007 to now. Uh, and, work on getting the right to Hopkins, the possibilities there. So I did talk to my doctor yesterday morning, and uh, so she's now kind of in the know. Well, no, it wasn't really ruled out because there was someone with me who was not at all qualified to answer any questions and may be in denial of how seriously ill I really am, even though I know that I look young, people, but I got like age crap all over me, just like older people, creepy skin, See, look, creepy, creepy, creepy. See, right? I mean, I just have a young face, but yeah, there's signs that everything's not okay. So I'm a little more hopeful at this point that I will be able to get back to the movement disorder specialist and have information that shows the timeline and the steps that were taken to make sure that medications that I take aren't usually the cause of dyskinesia. Uh, so that basically has been eliminated at this juncture. That took 2 years. This was not an overnight thing. And as hard it is sometimes, I understand certain positions. I understand some docs are just, well, some docs aren't necessarily always seeing patients, some, right? But I'm not trying to write a PhD on Parkinson's and just, I can't really imagine that it could be anything else at this juncture. And there is someone who agrees with me. So, you know, to me, news is news. And I just want to get some, you know, good look at it. It's not ataxia. I mean, I know how to read research. Yeah, there's some things I know that's not because I don't have any of those. I may have one or two, but they're not right. But unfortunately for me, over time, I've been tracking, and now my right side is starting to really, like, you see what my hand is doing? That's not something I normally do. And this is right. I'm not controlling this. It's right. It's sort of an autonomic situation that doesn't seem to be matching with what my body. So it doesn't seem like my body's cooperating as much anymore. Today, no slurred speech. And I'm not all high, and I'm not right. I don't even have anything that could get me high. Okay. So, I'm clear minded about this stuff. I don't even like taking hydrocodone, but at a certain point, it's just like the difference between the day after I took hydrocodone, you understand, and the day before was like the difference between a pain level of 9 and a pain level of 5, which I'll take it. But I do need anybody who knows me or runs across this to understand I'm not purposely avoiding anyone or ghosting anyone, or I'm just doing everything that I can to get up in the morning, and even basic stuff. 3 things have to happen. And I'm struggling with those 3 things still. And some people have not quite really let me have the time to build the habits. Regardless. Okay. Uh, I don't even know. This happens too. I'll lose my train of thought. Which, yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, as you get older, even if you're a genius, like, you get brain farts. Genius is brain fart too, people. And I'm not using that as some indicator of, hey, I'm greater than you. Okay. Right. Let's just explain some of my behaviors is all. But I've met a lot of really different, interesting people along the way. And I'm glad that everybody's been in my life, even it's been like crappy times, you know what I mean? So just need to make sure anybody who knows me, who runs across this, just, I mean, I'm doing what I can. But the 3 things that I need to do every day that I still been trying to build into habit again, or, you know, brush the teeth, wash the face, clean up, change clothes. Some of it's depression. And what I'm going to say to anyone is that those psychologists or psychiatrists or therapists or counselors who you have to understand that my mental health is a result of missing my dead family sometimes, and coming to the realization that working full time just isn't going to be happening. So, income, all that, whatever. So, yeah, they even have some difficulties with hygiene, mostly because I just don't give a shit. And that's why some people wouldn't know. And I understand. It's like you haven't been through it. No, you can't imagine what it's like. And I don't want you to. Please don't. Take care of yourselves. I mean, it's what I've been trying to do. And I mean, I'm getting there. So at least I do. I did email. And like I said in a previous video, just to let him know, well, okay, well, there's more information that's new, and right, you probably didn't get the backstory or any information that would indicate it's already been through certain things to make sure that it's not, dyskinesia from meds or, and I had to drop my gabapentin because it was causing a situation where, like, my legs, like this, miserable all night long, could not sleep. That was the gabapentin. So I still take gabapentin, but a lower dose. Just trying to get your meds right. Yeah, it'll take some time. I mean, people want instantaneous things, and I am unable to provide that. And I will not tolerate being bullied and abused online. And neither should anyone else. Everyone, please just. Okay. Some of you have been calling people liars and all kinds of cheats and thieves. That's slander if it's not the truth, and you can be brought to justice for that in the United States of America. Don't think that you can out clever some people who are way more technologically advanced and have certain things that you don't. Get it? Okay. So that's why I ask people to just, if you like chat, amen. I check the chat every so often to look. But anybody who runs across this who has been having some similar issues or needs to know a few things about healthcare and all that is, well, if you have Maryland Medicaid, there are some MCOs that will require prior authorizations for certain medications and other things. So, but so far it might take a little bit and some back and forth, but Generally the prior authorization ends up going through, but they do have a board of people, or they have a committee or something who will. That's why there's other medical professionals who will say, sure, that's the only option, or the expense, if there's something. Right. I understand all that. I do. And so I've learned to be more patient, even if I'm feeling like crap, people. Right? But I'm also having this situation locally where I live, to Maryland, you know, running across a few alcoholics who either fell off the bandwagon. Well, unfortunately, I can understand pressure, people. I can, right? I'm not trying to say some people get addicted to things that unnecessarily addicted and dependent. Okay, because sometimes being dependent on the medication is good news because it's working. You understand? And I don't mind if some people want to make sure for cost and certain things prior authorization. I'm okay with that too. It's in this situation. It's really a painful situation, and so I'm not in the best mood, and I can't help the tears. Like, this is just happening because right now, while I've been talking, level 10 pain coming out of one of my hips, and showing breakthrough pain comes. Then I do take extra strength Tylenol, but the main goal is for me to take one pain medication, one pill in the morning, and it lasts all day, at least most of the day, because I'm usually in bed by like 7 o'clock, 7:30. I just don't have it in me to go any further. So, right, instead of taking another short term pain med that's not opioid and, you know, 2,000 milligrams of extra strength Tylenol every day, bothers the stomach and the GI, and one pill will eliminate 6 other pills. You understand? So that's a really good option for me. I have faith it's going to get worked out. And I'm glad that Dr. Stern did it. He did on a Saturday, which was pretty nice of him. I mean, you know, I wasn't expecting him to answer my email until like Monday or something, but he did answer it. Personally, I appreciate that, and I just let him know, that there was some information he probably didn't get because of the individual who was with me. And the individual who was with me did not have any kind of qualifications to really be saying much. And so now that that has been taken care of, and now that he understands that I started the process of trying to rule out Parkinson's in 2007, and I know, and there's no blood test. So for something like movement disorders. It's not like you can just like take a blood test or it takes longer. You gotta have certain. I get it, but I'm grateful that at least you left it open for me to get more records together and for me to try and find a ride or do. If you left it open, if I could get those things, maybe I might be able to get back over there and take another look at some things. So that's good. I happen to have the patience and understanding really that COVID's slowing everybody up for one reason or another. And illnesses that aren't COVID can still be emergencies for people. So some of us, we can't necessarily just avoid doctors or doctors' offices or labs or, what I'm saying. I mean, yeah, life still needs to go on, but I truly mean this for all the people who, like, medical people work extra hours. Yeah, didn't have masks. And I don't know, all the stuff that was stressful and concerning. I want every human like that to understand, please. Take a minute every single day. Okay? And do something very relaxing before you go to bed. Okay? And if you need to talk to someone, therapist or another doctor who's been through, you know what I'm saying? Like, don't try too hard to go to great lengths because the stress that has occurred, hospitals and all, yeah, may not start really processing and taking hold until after certain things. So try to remember to have a frank, honest conversation with people. Get out, go cry, male or female, right? Even if you gotta bust out crying in front of somebody else, or you have to call the hotline, or you have to email your friend, or you know what I'm saying? Like, no person is an island, and nobody needs to be that way. And I mean, we're all humankind in the same event together, you understand? And so tempers can flare, I know, but all the people are just male people, everyone who's just had to work through it and change with it. And I mean, I thoroughly appreciate those people. But for U.S. citizens, is like, you don't need to be like cold, and try not to harden your heart, but protect it, okay? And talk to your peers or if you have to, even on the phone. I don't necessarily, as someone who knows this for sure, would not recommend phone therapy in general as the only method of therapy. But in times like this, it doesn't matter what your family thinks. It doesn't matter what your peers think. Screw them. They're probably feeling some of the same shit. So try to be a little less macho men and women. And be sure to keep an eye on each other even after, you know, it's said that the pandemic is over. There's gonna be some people who just soldiered through it and just kept putting in the back of my carpet and all that. But you may be feeling okay now. You gotta understand it's gonna hit you somehow at some point. Okay, there's gonna be that point where you now have time to process all this stuff. So know that that is a possibility, and that happens to many humans, even the biggest, baddest of them all. You understand? Right. So I do it, and I may not be able to properly get my point across all the time, but just having conversation lets me know, oh, okay, well, maybe I'll try and explain it this way. Okay. Like, don't let your family make you feel guilty. I mean, some people are going to put you in bad positions and be insensitive or just not know. They know not what they do, which, you know, can cause problems. But those of you stuck at home and don't get out that much, like I said, brighter colors. You may not feel like it. Okay, so I do have another room right next to this one that has like fall and winter kind of. That one's a little more, yeah. Um, but even just one happy light at 10,000 lumens, like when you're sitting drinking your coffee or you're listening, just or eating your breakfast or something. I mean, it's certainly not going to hurt you, and you can give it a try. But that is something it absorbs through your skin. Vitamin D. It's helpful also, yep, with mood. So you know, yeah, maybe turn your bed a different way, move things around, yeah. So those things definitely have helped me over the years, having something that's, some extra sunlight or some bright and colorful things here and there that, you know, um, and, because these are sheer curtains, I don't use regular curtains. I have other things if I need, yeah, room darkening. I use something else. So those sorts of things can make a huge bit of difference. And also, you need to talk about it. I'll be coming on and off live, and but other people write a diary. I don't know. Everybody be willing to forgo some of those things you might think about somebody based on how they look or act. Everyone, every human, animals, everything just Ask for help whenever you freaking need it. Here's what I'm going to say to some people. I've said this to other people, and I will say it again, and it will not change. No human is weak for asking for help. See, that's where the bravery is. You understand? That's where the bravery. You gotta brave up, okay? Especially people you might be in relationships with, and yet even the biggest, baddest 5-star freaking general, I don't care. You understand? Like, right. Even Chuck Norris, see what I'm saying? Right. Or, I don't know, I'm trying to think of a female. It's like Layla Ali. Yes. Right? Well, she followed in the footsteps of her dad. I mean, she's the end. Yeah. Right? Ooh. Hey, you know, she's pretty physically tough, and she's been through some things with her dad. So, yes, that's what I'm saying. Please know that. I'm not blowing smoke up anybody's butts. Some people are seeing what is strong in humans from a perception that does not actually help heal. So, try to understand if you're really just, you feel like you've been linchpin, or you feel like you don't know what to do, or you feel like your whole world just freaking crumbled, or you don't quite know how to cope, or things seem to be getting things that you're used to doing at a certain level. Okay, ask for help and just keep asking. Make that your daily purpose. Okay, because no one no one can help another unless they are all good to go. So that is in scripture, for those who follow scripture. Plank in the eye. You see, like, yeah, I got a big old, you know, yeah, somebody, one of the preachers on TV, let me find something. Oh, here we go. Right? Like, I'm walking around, this pencil sticking out of my eye. Yes, and then I run across somebody, and they're saying, "Oh, help me! I got like sawdust or something's in my eye." Well, how successful do you think I'm going to be poking and prodding in there if I don't have depth perception and this is not? See, I'm just going to cause more issues. So, like, try to work on being as healthy as you can, and know when you should help someone, when you're okay to do that. You understand? You need to be okay before you can help anyone else. So I just leave this up here for anybody. And I am making a documentary. A projected date, I don't, because of certain things, I don't really have one other than, most likely I'm not going to be able to really start putting everything together until at least the beginning of next year, because there's some things that will need to be covered, and there's some things that I don't really know how well I'm going to be doing. So, but I know it won't be until 2023. So for ministry purposes or any other kind of thing, I probably will not be like putting everything together, editing and producing a final draft or semi-final until at least 2023. So, right, and anything having to do with FM radio, you know, yeah, that's probably even further out, maybe 2024. Uh, but anyway, just anybody runs across this, it may be helpful. But it'll be helpful for me. It'll be helpful maybe for some doctors, and you know, right? Because they will be able to see my movements over time. Um, but I just can't today. Supposed to go grocery shopping and not happening. So I don't know why anybody would freaking think for any freaking reason that their lives are more important than mine. And there are plenty of you since 2011 have made it abundantly clear to me that you think that's the case. That's not really a great world sometimes. All right, everybody, take care.